Jennifer Lopez is finally opening up about her husband, Ben Affleck's severe alcohol problem, and sadly, it looks like Ben isn't in a very good place.
You have all these things happen to you and all these experiences, and you kind of hold them very close. You don't let people in on like what it's like behind the scenes.
Ben Affleck has a long and well-documented history of struggling with alcohol addiction. However, when he rekindled his romance with J.Lo back in 2021, Ben claimed he left all of his addiction issues in the past. However, rumors are now going around that Ben's still struggling with his old demons because he was recently caught arguing with J.Lo at a Hollywood party after she seemingly tried to check his drink for alcohol.
Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez at the shotgun wedding party.
We're now also hearing that J.Lo is at her wit's end, and she's getting exhausted from constantly having to watch over Ben. So what exactly did J.Lo say about Ben's drinking problem? Could this end up ruining their marriage? Let's get into it.
I still got to show up on the talk show and, put on my best face and all that. It doesn't matter if I was just crying in the dressing room,
It's been just a little over 6 months since Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck tied the knot in Las Vegas, 18 years after their first attempt at a wedding fell apart.
J.Lo stayed true to her love don't cost a thing pledge. I am here at the famous A Little White Wedding Chapel Vegas venue where the couple, worth an estimated $550 million, said I do with a $180 tunnel of love extravaganza.
Jennifer recently opened up about her marriage to Ben in an interview with Zane Lowe, and she said this time it's forever.
I was reunited with the love of my life, and we decided we were going to be together forever.
But rumors are now starting to pop up that J.Lo and Ben's marriage isn't so perfect after all, because Ben's reportedly still struggling with severe alcohol addiction.
Hey Ben, how's it going, man? How was the party last night, bro?
It happens, just slip, but I'm not going to let it derail me. You're going to check yourself back into rehab, Ben? Thank you very much, guys. You okay, Ben?
Now, before we get into what J.Lo had to say about Ben's drinking problem, here's some context to catch you up to speed. Ben Affleck comes from a family with a very long history of alcoholism and mental health issues. His paternal grandmother was addicted to both alcohol and barbiturates, and she took her own life at age 46. Ben's paternal uncle also took his own life after struggling with addiction, and his aunt was an addict as well. And then Ben's father, Timothy, also struggled with severe alcoholism throughout Ben's childhood, and in one interview, Ben recalled his dad drinking all day, every day. According to Ben, his father was very difficult, which is why Ben felt relieved at the age of 11 when his parents divorced and his dad left the family home. Timothy continued to drink heavily and eventually ended up homeless, living on the streets of Cambridge, Massachusetts for 2 years. When Ben was 16, his father finally entered a rehab facility in Indio, California, where he lived there for 12 years, eventually becoming an addiction counselor. But sadly, just when Timothy managed to get sober, his sons, Ben and Casey, both picked up a drinking habit themselves. By the age of 15, Ben was already drinking so much that his mother sent him to a wilderness camp for at-risk teenagers. At 18, Ben moved to Los Angeles to pursue acting, and after a few years, his career started to pick up, so he decided to get sober.
Ben has fought a hard battle against alcohol addiction that dates all the way back to his Good Will Hunting days. He told reporters after the film's release that he had vowed to stop drinking. At the time, he was 24.
After the success of Good Will Hunting, Ben received residential treatment for his addiction, and he managed to stay sober for a few years. However, Ben made the mistake of thinking he could have an occasional drink like most people.
I was sober for a couple of years, and then I thought, I want to just drink like a normal person, and I want to have wine at dinner and so on.
The occasional glass of wine with dinner soon turned into a full-blown relapse, and Ben said he started drinking until he passed out on a daily basis.
I started to drink more and more and more, and it was really hard for me to accept that meant I was an alcoholic. I was like, I can just go back. I was fine before. I just need to take a break. I just need to slow down. I'm okay. This isn't me. And I start to drink every day. And I come home from work and I start to drink, and I just sit there and drink till I pass out on the couch.
Meanwhile, Ben's 2-year romance with J.Lo fell apart, allegedly due to intense media scrutiny. And in 2004, they called off their wedding just days before the scheduled ceremony. Just months later, Ben started dating Jennifer Garner after meeting her on the set of Pearl Harbor. Ben and Jennifer tied the knot in June 2005 in a small private ceremony with just 2 other people present. They went on to have 3 children together, daughters Violet Ann and Sapphira Rose Elizabeth, and son Samuel Garner. But despite settling down and becoming a father, Ben continued to drink heavily, and while Jennifer did everything she could to help him, Ben kept relapsing. Besides Ben's drinking taking a huge toll on the family, in early 2015, reports emerged that Ben had cheated on Jennifer with their kid's nanny.
Jennifer Garner's former nanny, Christine Uzunian, broke her social media silence over the weekend, posting that she's on fire on Instagram. And now, new info on the trip that friends say raised red flags.
Christine is also on the cover of the New York Post today. That's her posing with Tom Brady's 4 Super Bowl rings.
Jennifer later hinted that the cheating rumors were true, although she claimed the nanny situation wasn't the main reason why she and Ben separated. In June 2015, Jennifer and Ben publicly announced their separation. However, despite everything Ben put her through, Jen continued to support him on his journey to sobriety. In fact, she even let Ben live in a guest house at her home for 2 more years after they separated. In the meantime, Ben returned to residential treatment. However, he suffered another relapse shortly after completing the program. However, Jennifer was once again there to pick up the pieces, and she drove him straight to rehab.
What up, Ben?
Ben completed the 40-day program in October 2018. However, in late 2019, TMZ caught Ben stumbling on a Los Angeles street after a Halloween party.
And it was very evident on Saturday night.
A lifelong struggle.
Yes, he was leaving the UNICEF masquerade ball Saturday night in West Hollywood at the Lapeer Hotel.
He was wasted.
Yeah, I mean, when you see him he was stumbling right there to find his balance. And then there was more after.
Ben, however, claimed this was just a little slip-up, and he vowed to continue with his recovery regimen. In the meantime, Ben reconnected with his ex-fiancée, Jennifer Lopez, and they went public with their romance in July 2021.
The 51-year-old singer and the 48-year-old actor made their rekindled relationship Instagram debut on Thursday after J.Lo's BFF Leah Remini shared this throwback montage of her birthday celebration in June.
Later that year, Ben opened up about his addiction in an interview with Howard Stern and claimed he'd been completely sober since early 2020. However, in the same interview, Ben made some very disrespectful comments about his ex-wife, Jennifer Garner, implying that he was drinking heavily during their marriage because he felt trapped. Not just that, but Ben also claimed that if they were still married, he'd still be drinking.
I'd probably still be drinking. It was just part of why I started drinking alcohol, because I was trapped.
Ben later tried to defend himself and insisted that his comments were taken out of context. But the public was furious, mainly because Jennifer Garner was the one person who never gave up on Ben, never trashed him in public, and even after he cheated on her and ruined their family with his alcohol addiction, she was still there to drive him to rehab and protect him from the paparazzi.
Hey, Jennifer. It's Jennifer Garner to the rescue as she descended on Ben Affleck's home and staged an intervention after her ex apparently fell off the wagon.
Can you guys please do me a favor? Yes. Just out of respect. Yes. Can you give some space?
Besides that, Ben's own brother, Casey, previously admitted that Jennifer was the one who inspired Ben to get sober in the first place. After the Howard Stern interview, fans started speculating that Ben wasn't completely sober like he claimed, because blaming his drinking problems on his marriage and his ex-wife was a typical excuse of an addict. And while both Ben and his new wife, Jennifer Lopez, maintained that Ben is 100% sober and healthier than ever, just months after their wedding in the summer of 2022, multiple outlets reported that the newlyweds are fighting all the time and that J.Lo's losing her patience with Ben. J.Lo has said on multiple occasions that she never drinks alcohol, and it's also a known fact that she's obsessed with working out. Ben, however, is the complete opposite, and back in September, one source told Radar Online that J.Lo is especially annoyed with Ben's smoking habit. And then about a month later, another insider told the outlet that J.Lo and Ben have been fighting non-stop since their wedding. The source explained that J.Lo is a perfectionist, while Ben is the complete opposite in terms of his personality and lifestyle. Ben doesn't clean up after himself, which irritates the hell out of Jennifer, the insider shared, adding that the couple recently got into a huge fight after J.Lo completely blindsided Ben and got rid of his prized motorbike collection because she thought it was unsafe. She's been known to yell at him and point her finger, the insider added. It makes people wonder if she mistakes him for the dog. Meanwhile, J.Lo continued to put on a happy face in the public, claiming that she's happier than ever and grateful to have another chance at love with Ben.
We moved in together, the kids moved in together. It's been like a really kind of emotional transition, but at the same time, like all your dreams coming true, and it's just been a phenomenal year, like my best year, I think, since my kids were born.
However, J.Lo and Ben were recently caught having what looked like an argument in the middle of the after party of J.Lo's new film, Shotgun Wedding, and it was allegedly Ben's drinking that caused it. The viral clip is now making the rounds on social media and shows J.Lo looking annoyed while seemingly checking if Ben's drink has alcohol in it. And at one point, it looks like Ben's telling her, "I didn't drink anything, Jen." Rumors are now once again starting to circulate that Ben's struggling with alcohol addiction and that J.Lo's getting tired of constantly monitoring him. So how does J.Lo really feel about Ben's alcohol problem? Well, insiders close to J.Lo are saying she's getting increasingly worried that Ben will fall off the wagon, especially now that they're married, because Ben previously claimed that feeling trapped in a marriage is what made him drink until he would pass out. Meanwhile, fans seem to be divided on this, and while some of them are praising J.Lo for keeping Ben in check, others are saying J.Lo rushed Ben to marriage before he managed to fully heal from all his issues. One fan said, "I support Jen on this because it just means she cares about his sobriety." However, another person commented, "First of all, you cannot put an alcoholic in that environment. Ben wanted to run from the altar again because he knew he would fail again. The man is sick, and if she really loved him, she would let him go. Her lifestyle is not his. He is low-key, and she is look at me." But let's hear how you feel about this situation. Do you think it's good that J.Lo's keeping Ben in line? Or is this a red flag for their marriage?